Have you ever paused and asked yourself, am I truly living or merely existing? The Stoics believe that life is short, and wasting it on trivial things is the greatest tragedy. You wake up. You scroll. You work. You worry. You sleep. And somewhere in that loop, your potential withers, unnoticed. But today, we'll break that cycle. In this video, you'll discover 7 clear signs that you're wasting your life, and more importantly, the Stoic path to reclaim it. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca. Before we begin, subscribe to this channel where ancient wisdom meets modern purpose. Let's rebuild your life, philosophically, practically, intentionally. Sign 1. You're living to please others. Let me ask you something. Do you find yourself constantly saying yes to things you don't really want to do, just so people won't get upset? Do you dress a certain way, talk a certain way, or post on social media, not because it reflects who you truly are, but because you want others to like you, approve of you, or think you're cool? If that sounds familiar, then this might be the first big sign that you're wasting your life, by living it for someone else. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What he meant is this. If you're serious about growing into the best version of yourself, you have to be okay with other people not understanding you, even judging you. Because the more your actions are controlled by what other people think, the less control you have over your own life. You're not free, you're performing. Take a moment and really think about this. Are you holding back on a dream just because you're afraid of being judged? Are you waking up and shaping your entire day based on how to be accepted or admired? Are you choosing your goals, your words, or even your lifestyle, based on what they think, not what you believe? That's not living. That's surviving under the weight of other people's opinions. So what does Stoicism teach us to do instead? 1. Start by defining your own values. Ask yourself, what really matters to me, not what's trendy, not what my friends or family expect, but what I believe is right and meaningful. Write it down. Own it. 2. Practice something the Stoics called apatheia. This doesn't mean not caring at all, it means not being ruled by praise or criticism. Whether someone claps for you or laughs at you, it shouldn't change your direction. Your compass should come from within. 3. Every morning, take just 10 minutes to reflect. Sit down with a notebook or just with your thoughts, and ask, what truly matters to me today? What kind of person do I want to be? Will I live for others' approval, or my own values? When you stop living to please others, something powerful happens. You gain your time back. Your energy. Your identity. You stop pretending, and you start becoming. Not for them, but for you. Sign 2. You're avoiding pain and discomfort. Let me ask you something. When things get tough, do you find yourself pulling back instead of pushing through? Do you choose the comfort of your couch instead of the challenge of a workout? Do you reach for your phone, Netflix, or snacks instead of facing something hard, like an uncomfortable truth, a difficult conversation, or that goal you've been putting off? If so, then this is the second major sign that you're wasting your life. You're avoiding discomfort, and in doing so, you're also avoiding your own growth. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The obstacle is the way." What does that mean? It means the very thing you're trying to avoid, the pain, the struggle, the challenge, that's exactly the thing that will shape you into who you're meant to become. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from resistance. From tension. From effort. But many of us run from anything that feels even a little bit uncomfortable. Think about it. How many important conversations have you avoided just to keep the peace, even when something deep inside you needed to speak up? How many opportunities have you missed because you were afraid to fail, or even just afraid to try? How often do you numb your emotions by scrolling, binge-watching, eating, or anything else, just so you don't have to sit with the discomfort of what you're really feeling? The Stoics believe that life is a kind of training ground. Each challenge is like a weight in the gym. It might feel heavy now, but lifting it will make you stronger later. So how do we apply this in a Stoic way? Here's what the Stoics would do, and what you can start doing today. 1. Start facing voluntary discomfort. That means deliberately choosing things that challenge you, even when you don't have to. Take a cold shower. Try fasting for a few hours longer than usual. Spend a day without your phone. It's not about punishing yourself, it's about reminding your mind and body that you can handle discomfort. That pain doesn't control you. 2. See every challenge as training. Didn't get the job you wanted? You're being trained in resilience. Relationship ended? You're being trained in emotional strength. Nervous about public speaking? You're being trained in courage. Life isn't picking on you, it's preparing you. 3. Ask yourself this simple question whenever fear or avoidance creeps in. What's the worst that could happen? And if that worst-case scenario came true, could I survive it? More often than not, the answer is yes. The fear is louder than the reality. In the end, remember this. A life spent avoiding pain is also a life that avoids progress. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the path. So the next time you feel the urge to run from something hard, stop and tell yourself, this is where I grow. This is the way forward. Because like the Stoics taught us, the obstacle is the way. Sign 3. You're distracted all the time. Let me ask you this. How often do you find yourself reaching for your phone, even when there's no reason? You're not expecting a message, you're not looking anything up, you just grab it out of habit. Maybe you're standing in line, sitting at a red light, waiting for a friend. Or maybe, you're even in the middle of a task, and you suddenly check your notifications for no real reason. If that sounds familiar, then here's the truth. You may be living distracted. Not just occasionally, but constantly. The Stoic philosopher Seneca put it perfectly when he said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." In other words, if your mind is always jumping from one thing to another, scrolling, swiping, multitasking, you're never truly present in any one moment. And when you lose presence, you start to lose life itself. Because life is not lived in the past or in the future, it's lived here. Right now. Now think about some of these signs. Can you sit and read a book, or even a short article, without stopping to check your phone? Are you trying to do 3 or 4 things at once, and never doing any of them really well? Do you spend more time consuming things, videos, posts, news, than you do creating or reflecting? If so, you're not alone. In today's world, distraction is everywhere. But Stoicism teaches us that attention is power. And every time we let our attention be stolen, we give away a piece of that power. So what would the Stoics do? How can you take back your focus? 1. Practice doing one thing at a time. This is called single tasking. Whether you're eating, working, talking, or even resting, give that one thing your full focus. No background scrolling. No quick checks. No half listening. Because when you give something your full attention, it becomes meaningful. 2. Create boundaries with your digital devices. Set a time each day to completely disconnect from your phone or computer. Maybe it's 1 hour in the morning, or during dinner, or before bed. These digital detox moments allow your mind to breathe, reset, and return to stillness. 3. Rebuild your ability to focus deeply. The Stoics weren't scrolling through feeds, they were reflecting, writing, contemplating. Start your own version of this. You can do it by journaling, meditating, walking in silence, or simply sitting alone with your thoughts, even if just for 10 minutes a day. Because here's the truth. A distracted mind is a scattered life. But a focused mind, a present mind, can move mountains. So the next time your hand reaches for your phone out of habit, pause. And ask yourself, am I choosing this moment, or escaping it? The Stoic life is about intention. And every moment you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your life. Sign 4. You're not growing. Let me ask you a question. Are you better than you were a year ago, or are you just older? It's a tough question, but an important one. When you really think about the last 12 months, have you learned anything new? Have you challenged yourself, grown stronger mentally or emotionally, developed new habits, or moved closer to becoming the person you want to be? Or have you simply been going through the motions, busy, yes, but stagnant inside? According to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, how long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself? What he's saying is this: you can't keep putting off your potential. You can't keep telling yourself that, someday, you'll try harder, someday, you'll improve, someday, you'll become more disciplined. That someday might never come. And every day you settle for less than your best is a day wasted. You see, life isn't just about surviving. It's not just about making it through the day, paying bills, or staying busy. Life, in the Stoic sense, is about striving for excellence, not perfection, but consistent growth. So, take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you learned a new skill, or even tried to? Are there goals you've quietly abandoned because they seemed too hard, or because you were afraid to fail? Have you become too comfortable with being just okay? If the answer to any of these is yes, that's your sign. You're not growing. You're just coasting. And growth never happens in cruise control. So how can you break out of this, and grow the Stoic way? 1. Make time every single day to learn and reflect. It doesn't have to be hours. It can be 15 minutes of reading a book, listening to a podcast, or journaling about what you've learned that day. The Stoics believed in daily self-examination. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal every night to check in with himself, his thoughts, his actions, his direction. You can do the same. 2. Push your limits, on purpose. Stoicism teaches us to embrace effort. Try doing something today that's just a little harder than what you're used to. Wake up earlier. Do a workout. Speak up in a situation where you'd usually stay quiet. Voluntary exertion trains your mind to grow stronger under pressure, just like muscles do when lifting heavier weights. 3. Measure progress by your discipline, not by your results. In the Stoic mindset, success isn't about quick wins or outside recognition. It's about your consistency. Did you show up today? Did you try, even when it was hard? That's growth. That's excellence. And that's how real transformation begins, not overnight, but over time. So, the next time you're tempted to coast through another week, ask yourself, am I just getting older, or am I actually becoming better? Don't wait for the perfect moment to start growing. Because like the Stoics knew, the perfect moment is always now. Sign 5. You're always busy but going nowhere. Let's take a moment to be honest with ourselves. Does your day feel packed with things to do, but somehow your life still feels empty? You're always on the move, always doing something, but deep down, you feel like you're not getting anywhere meaningful. You finish the day exhausted, but not fulfilled. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we are given a short life, but we make it short by wasting it." In other words, it's not time that we're lacking, it's purpose. We waste so much of our life not because we don't have enough hours in the day, but because we fill those hours with things that don't matter. And here's the hard truth. Being busy all the time doesn't mean you're being productive. Busyness often becomes a distraction, a way to avoid asking ourselves the bigger, more uncomfortable questions like, why am I doing all this? Is any of this actually moving me toward the life I want? Let's look at some warning signs that you might be caught in this trap. You're constantly working, but never feeling truly satisfied. You don't have a clear long-term goal, you're just reacting to whatever comes next. Your day is full of urgent things, but very few meaningful ones. This is how people wake up one day and realize they've spent years running in circles. Don't let that be your story. So what would the Stoics advise? How do you escape the trap of busy but aimless living? 1. Get clear on your telos. Telos is a Greek word the Stoics used to describe your ultimate purpose, your why. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? What really matters to me in the long run? If you don't know where you're trying to go, how will you know if you're making progress? 2. Start your day with intention, not reaction. Don't just wake up and immediately respond to emails, messages, or other people's needs. Take 10 minutes in the morning to plan your day around what truly matters. Choose 1 or 2 meaningful actions that align with your values, and prioritize those. 3. Learn to say no. If something doesn't align with your values, your goals, or your growth, it's okay to turn it down. Every yes you say to something meaningless is a no to something important. Remember, life isn't about being constantly busy. It's about being intentionally aligned. The Stoic life is a focused life. It's not about how much you do, but whether what you're doing truly matters. So ask yourself, are you building a life that feels full, or just a calendar that looks full? Because one leads to meaning. The other leads to burnout. Sign 6. You're addicted to comfort. Let me ask you this. Is your entire day set up to avoid effort, challenge, or even the slightest bit of discomfort? Do you find yourself constantly choosing what's easiest, even when you know it's not what's best? If so, this might be one of the biggest signs that you're slowly wasting your potential. You're addicted to comfort. Now, don't get me wrong, rest is important. We all need moments of ease. But when your entire life becomes centered around avoiding struggle, when you're always looking for the softest pillow, the easiest path, the shortcut, you start to stagnate. You stop growing. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We must undergo a hard winter training and not rush into things for which we haven't prepared." In other words, life requires preparation, and that preparation comes from challenge. You can't build strength, resilience, or real character in a life that's all softness and no resistance. Let's look at some common signs of being addicted to comfort. You sleep more than you need to, not because you're tired, but because it's easier to stay in bed. You overeat, or snack out of boredom, not hunger. You avoid physical movement. You skip workouts, avoid walking, and always choose the easiest option. And beyond physical habits, this addiction to comfort can affect your mind too. You avoid hard conversations. You never push yourself to learn new skills. You back away from opportunities just because they feel scary. The Stoics believe that a strong life requires a strong mind, and a strong mind is forged in challenge. So how do you overcome this addiction to comfort, the Stoic way? 1. Start building disciplined routines, even when they're uncomfortable. Wake up early. Stick to a workout schedule. Control your eating habits. These aren't punishments, they're tools. Every time you follow through on discipline, you remind yourself that you are in control, not your cravings or your moods. 2. Train your mind through small acts of adversity. The Stoics practice things like cold showers, fasting, or wearing simple clothes, not to suffer, but to stay sharp. Try doing one thing each day that makes you a little uncomfortable on purpose. That discomfort builds your tolerance, and your toughness. 3. Change how you see pain. Most people see discomfort as a punishment. Stoics saw it as a teacher. Whether it's emotional pain, physical effort, or mental fatigue, it's there to grow you. Don't run from it. Learn from it. Because here's the truth. A life of constant comfort may feel good in the moment. But it slowly weakens your body, your spirit, and your will. So ask yourself, am I choosing comfort today, at the cost of my future strength? The Stoic path isn't about seeking pain. It's about refusing to be ruled by fear of it. And once you stop avoiding what's hard, you start becoming what's great. Sign 7. You're not living according to your values. Let me ask you something personal. Do your actions, what you actually do every day, line up with what you say you believe in? Or are there moments when you feel like you're betraying yourself, even if no one else notices? This is one of the clearest signs that you might be wasting your life. You're living out of alignment with your own values. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, don't spend your life talking about what's right, what's noble, what matters most. Just live it. Every day you act against your own beliefs, you create inner conflict. And every time you ignore your values, you chip away at your peace of mind. Now let's break this down. What does living out of alignment with your values actually look like? You know what's right, but you don't do it. Maybe you believe in honesty, but you lie to avoid consequences. You make promises or set personal boundaries, and then break them when things get hard. You feel a constant sense of unease, not because something around you is wrong, but because deep down, you're not being true to yourself. This kind of inner conflict is draining. You might not even realize it, but it shows up as anxiety, guilt, overthinking, or a constant sense that something's off. So how do you fix this and realign yourself, Stoic style? 1. Review your values regularly, at least once a week. Take time to sit down, reflect, and ask yourself, what do I truly believe in? What kind of person do I want to be? Am I living in a way that reflects those beliefs? You can write this down in a journal or say it out loud. The key is to bring awareness to it. 2. Make sure your daily habits match your values. If you say discipline is important, but you hit snooze 5 times every morning, there's a gap. If you say family matters, but you never make time for them, there's a gap. Realign. Choose one habit today that reflects what you truly believe, and make it a non-negotiable part of your life. 3. Live as if today were your last. The Stoics often reflected on the idea of memento mori, remembering that death can come at any time. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to wake you up. If today was your last chance to act on your values, would you do things differently? If so, why not start now? Because here's the truth. You only get one life. And living that life in a way that goes against your own soul, that's not living. That's slow self-destruction. But when your beliefs and your actions walk hand in hand, something powerful happens. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop feeling divided inside. You feel clear, confident, strong. So ask yourself now, am I really living by my values, or just talking about them? The time to bridge that gap is today. Now you've seen the signs. You've felt them. Maybe even lived them. But this isn't the end. It's a beginning. A rebirth of purpose. Because every day you wake up is a chance to stop wasting your life, and start living it. Don't die before you're dead. Marcus Aurelius.